conversation.
You're welcome to your favorite program, The Conversation.
Hello there, and welcome to yet another episode of the program, The Conversation. Do you have a sister, a wife, a mother who has health challenges like cancer? Please call the person to come and watch and listen to this episode. For our guest today is a cancer survivor. Hello there. Our guest today is Mrs. Adama Kenjal Afanga. Mrs. Adama Kenjal Afanga is a rare human being, one of the people that we can talk about a miracle. She survived cancer of the breast. Today, she'll be talking to us what she went through and educate other people who are having similar challenges on what to do if they find themselves in such situation. Mrs. Adama Afanga, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
I don't know how to start, but I would like to say, how did you even discover that you had this health challenge? Just let's know what happened.
Thank you so much for bringing me to this program. I like talking about this breast cancer because it was a must-have, but God brought it down. It's been trampled upon. I didn't know there was a lump in my left breast, but my husband discovered it while browsing in the night, and he said, "What is this?" I was like, I looked at it, I had a second check. I knew that it wasn't a good sign. But again, I convinced myself that it cannot be cancer because before now we have been taught in church that anytime you see a lump in your breast, just rush to the hospital because it's not a good sign. But I didn't take it serious for some months.
So you had it for some months. Your husband was the person that discovered that you had this. Were you not checking yourself?
I wasn't.
Okay.
Although we've been taught that we need to check like women, but I wasn't checking. Sometimes I didn't take it serious. Let me use that one. I didn't take it serious. When he discovered it, I kept checking it every day. But I discovered that as the months rolled by, this lump that initially looked like a seed of maybe granite seed started growing. It was gradually becoming, it was still hard, it was getting bigger and bigger.
So first of all, your husband was so caring, he was the one that discovered this. That's a great man, wonderful, wonderful.
Yes,
so it's a beautiful story to hear. Now, so what happened? After that, you were still reluctant. What made you to now go to the hospital?
I was reluctant because I eat right, I exercise, I'm not fat, I'm a healthy eater, so I didn't know it could affect somebody like me. I was careless about it. My job schedule too was tight. But when my daughter came back from school, and I told her my husband told her there's a lump in my breast, and I've not done anything about it. She asked me to pull off. When I opened up and she saw the lump, she said we have to go to the hospital now. And we left to the hospital, National Hospital. They did a check, biopsy. A few days after that, when I went back to check, it was discovered I had breast cancer.
Wow. So now, when this discovery was made, how did you feel? How was it hearing such a thing? Did you feel it was a death sentence?
To be honest, I felt my whole world was collapsing, crumbling. Nothing meant anything to me any longer. You know, I thought that was the end of life. My husband could not talk. I could not talk for 2 weeks. My relatives that had all they came to the house to do was to cry. They cried and wailed. Some rolled on the ground as if to say, "Oh, I mean, you're already dead." Because, I mean, if it was just sickness, why would they be crying? As I saw them cry, I also cried. I I was feeling like it was over. It was traumatic. My whole family, everybody was on me, putting their heads together, having meeting on what next step to do. We're praying also.
So, like for people in this kind of situation, from your own experience, what were the suggestions that you had that traditionally everybody would come up with? What were kind of suggestions or remedies that people were trying?
Yeah, some of my family members said I should stop eating food. I should be on vegetables and fruits. That was going to heal it. It was going to dry it up. So I was on vegetables and fruits, smoothies and salads. I was not eating. I was a shadow of myself. I was white. I was slim. Until my brother came in and saw me and said, what was wrong? The fact that I have cancer was making me to look this slim. And my husband said she was not eating. They said she should not eat that. If she eats vegetables and fruits and supplements, she'll be okay. And he called his friend in America, who's a medical doctor, and the guy told me, look, you need all the energy you can acquire to go for treatment. Say cancer is not malaria. You're going to be taking chemotherapy, so eat akpu, eat beans, eat rice, eat heavy, eat well and be strong, because you need energy to go through chemotherapy treatment. And I started eating and I gained some weight. Started eating and I was strong. Because I was not eating, I was weak. I was looking very frail, but when I started eating, I became stronger. And I was ready to fight.
How would you now? Were you hoping to get treated in Nigeria? Other places won't go be treated when you had this challenge?
Yes. I went to National Hospital. I thought I would be treated in National Hospital, but my sisters raised an alarm that I should not treat. And my husband too said we should try. Wanted to go to UK, wanted to go to Israel, wanted to go to India. India was my last choice. But then my husband took me to survivors' houses, people that have survived breast cancer. So when I see them, I had lots of energy to fight, because they'll tell me, this is not treatment, it's a fight. The battle was won in the mind. I was ready to fight.
So when I see that you had kind of healing therapy before you started the proper treatment. Your husband was very supportive.
My husband is an angel. He was my pillar. He decided where we should go to, and he damned the consequences.
So he was taking you to people that were survivors.
Survived. Yes, I was meeting them. They would pull up their clothing and show me the mastectomy, show me their hair, what they went through after doing chemotherapy, and what they are now. And I can see now, they have their life had kicked off. They were everywhere. They were walking. They were taking care of their families. So it was that was one encouragement story that made me to say, if she survives, then I can.
Wow.
My husband was a pillar.
Wonderful. So, are there places in Nigeria where people that have challenges of, now yours, before I get to this next question, yours, you had to have early detection. Early detection is a key, right?
Key.
Early detection. So, women should be encouraged to check themselves.
Yes.
And the husbands you're encouraging husbands from your own experience to check their wives too.
Yes, because if not for my husband, because it wasn't painful. The lump was never painful when I saw it, until I traveled, it wasn't painful, it was just there. But it was growing. It's important that our husbands help. But if your husband is not there, you should have maybe once in a year check, once in every 6 months, to check for, any lump in your breast. If you cannot do it, you go to your hospital, they'll do it for you, free.
That's wonderful. So, what you're telling all the fathers in our home, please, daddies, make sure you help to check on this. I'm going to be doing that very well. I will be a good supporter.
Thank you very much.
I will be checking very well. Thank you very much. Now let's go to the issues about supplements. You said when you had this challenge, a lot of people were coming with suggestions, you should fast, you should take supplements. And you're saying that that's not the best way to go. what should somebody in Nigeria or in third world nation, developing nation, what should be your approach if you discover you find yourself in this kind of health challenge?
Yes, as mature as I thought I was in faith with my husband, you know, there were people that came to our houses and gave us some kind of suggestions that we almost fall into it, if not for the grace of God. Because as if this cancer has a spirit, people bring suggestions from everywhere. Do supplements. Don't cook with so and so pots. Don't stay near television. Don't eat this. Don't eat that. Those things do not help. You can have maybe 5% in 100. You understand? But aside that, if you know it's been dictated that you have cancer, my advice is, because I did all, and time was going, the growth was enlarging. You understand? It's to go for treatment. There are 3 things about cancer. It's the chemotherapy drug, it's a mastectomy, and it's the radiation. These 3, you must complete the cycle. You will not say, okay, I have taken a little of chemotherapy and add supplement. It doesn't work. It's important, like what I did since 2016. I mean, I've survived cancer. It's important that you take your full treatment. It is after then that you can ask, okay, I want to eat right. I want to maintain a healthy diet. I want to eat fruit. I want to eat vegetables for your benefit, but that does not cure cancer.
Wow. Thank you very much. Viewers at home, please we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we're going to hear where she went and how she was treated and her advice to the government of Nigeria and developing countries. Don't go away.
Conversation.
You're welcome to your favorite program, The Conversation.
Hello there and welcome back. We're still on the program, The Conversation with Arthur Ejiofor, and our guest today is Mrs. Adamma Kenja Afanga, a cancer survivor. Madam, please, I would like you to tell us about where did you go, the country you went to, since you started at National Hospital, and why didn't you complete your treatment at National Hospital? Is it that we don't have enough equipment or manpower to help someone that has these challenges?
Yes, in 2016, things were not as good as it is in 2022 now. My result was the reagent that was supposed to tell the kind of cancer I had. I said it was going to come from South Africa. For 2 months, I didn't get result. And the cancer lump was growing. I couldn't get results. So they didn't know what kind of breast cancer it was. There was no PET scan for me to see, for them to know, okay, it has spread from A to my lungs or wherever. Nothing like that. So my family said, you must move. My husband was very supportive and we moved together.
Okay, how did you, what's the cost? How were you able to raise the fund? Because you are a public servant and your husband is a public servant.
Yes.
So how were you able to gather the funds to travel? Because I know a lot of people in this kind of situation want to know what to do.
Yes. It was favor from the Lord.
Okay.
Because my husband told the boss that my wife was down with breast cancer. And so he raised about 8 million for us. So now a colleague raised 3.5 million for us. And then family members, and then the church. The church rallied down and gave us box of money, individuals from the church also. These are the few people I can remember that we had like 13 million before we leave. And we didn't spend that much when we traveled.
So which country did you go to?
We went to India.
You went to India.
Yeah.
How was it at India? What did you see about the nationality? People coming for medical tourism and coming for health challenges in India?
People were coming all over the world for treatment there, especially underdeveloped countries. In fact, some Canadian doctors, about 212 Canadian doctors came to that hospital, Bangalore, for medical training.
Wow.
So Narayana Hospital is where I did my treatment.
So is it that we don't have this in Nigeria? Is it that we don't have the equipment that will help people that have this health?
Yes, in 2016.
Do we have it now in Nigeria?
Yes, facilities have improved. We have radiation machine in Nigeria now. We have PET scan in Lagos that was just launched last month. But one PET scan for a population of close to 200 million, I mean, what can that do? So, like when we arrived at Indian Bangalore today, the following the treatment started. Tests, all sorts of tests were run. In 4 days after that, everything was on ground. Where the cancer had spread to was on ground. Where it has not spread to was ground. Everything they dropped to use, and we used Indian drugs. They manufacture drugs for themselves.
So part
Which
of
is
it-
cheaper.
So it's cheaper. The cost is cheaper because they have the equipment there.
They have the
They
equipment.
have the manufacturing, pharmaceutical industries
There,
Wow.
everything.
So what we need to do in Nigeria is that we need to get some of this equipment here,
Exactly.
and we need to get our pharmaceutical companies manufacturing some of these drugs.
Yes, we can. We have the brains.
Yeah. So the cost of treatments, how was it, or what was it?
It wasn't expensive. It was just a flight ticket. Accommodation was 5,000 naira, but in a very good hotel.
5,000 naira
A day,
A
sorry.
day.
A day.
Okay.
5,000 naira. A very good hotel. I'll say 3-star hotel.
Oh wow. So how was it when you started your diagnosis with the doctors there? Were there things that they picked out? Were there questions that they were asking you, or what did you notice when they were talking with you?
Where I treated, they are prepared for cancer patients. As you're going up the staircase, they have beautiful warnings by the staircase, like cancer is too limited to 1,000 rupees. When I picked that, it was like scripture to me. I called back to the university. And then I said, no, this cancer, you're just too small. I have plans. You cannot douse my room. So he kept ringing. And when you go to sit with the doctor, he commonizes this thing. It doesn't make you feel as if, oh, it's the end of the world. He makes it very little, as if, very soon you'll be here, out of here, you're well already, because they did a lot of counseling, a lot of building of your faith to make you know that you are able to do it. By the time you leave the doctor's office, I felt well. That's the truth. I felt very well and comfortable because they continue, okay, they give you a treatment plan. It's a small thing, you don't need to bother. Everybody is down with cancer, we treat. I mean, psychologically, they work on you. So you go in with faith and you see other people, surviving it. So why won't you? You know, it did a lot.
Were there foods they were asking you, were you taking this kind of food? Were there particular kind of lifestyle they were trying to find out if it could be a causative agent of cancer while you were being...
Unfortunately, they discourage supplements.
Okay.
See, you don't need supplements. Every supplement you need, it's in your fruits and your vegetables. They didn't tell me don't eat your eba, don't eat your beans, don't eat your... They said eat everything, but eat a little. Don't eat too much so you don't gain weight. The only thing they were interested in is that don't gain weight, don't put on weight. So whatever you want to eat in portions. Don't eat too much. But again, there was this question that kept reoccurring. If you occurred in national, it was in national hospital. If you occurred in India, when they find out that, when they ask you, do you have cancer? Is there anybody in your family? Does anybody have cancer? And you say no. The next question they will ask is, are you on any family planning? And it's bothered. Why family planning as a second question? And when you say, okay, yes, I'm on a family planning, or I have been on, they kind of nod their heads and they right. So I don't know, I'm not a specialist in this. I don't know if it has to do with, I don't know. Nobody
No, from what I'm getting from you is the doctors are always trying to link a correlation between family, official family planning
Yeah.
and cancer.
Yes.
But they're not coming up to tell you
No,
that.
no.
But you found out that wherever visited all the hospitals, the doctors were asking you if you had any kind of family planning.
Yes.
So that comes to tell us that we need to be very careful and look at it. And just like some other people will encourage you to do the natural family planning, do you think it might be safer for people to do natural family planning?
I'm not an authority in this area, so I cannot emphatically say yes, but it bothered me. So I cannot really say. But of course, natural family planning it's better. But with men like you, I cannot say.
No, for me, I do natural family planning.
Okay, that's
so
good.
I try to do natural family. It's just a kind of encouragement for me because, if a father and a husband goes back and you tell your wife, well, watch this program and, look at it. Something might not just be very okay, but it's good to take this information. It's very good to take this information. So, what would you now tell the government to do? I'm asking this in the way of equipping the hospital and helping civil servants, public servants like you. You contribute to national health insurance.
Yeah.
And when you have this kind of situation, your fund is not, the government is not able to support you despite the fact that you are supporting a social security assistance of the government.
Yeah.
What do you think the government can do to help people that can afford this kind of millions of naira kind of health treatment?
Yeah. What they do over there is that they subsidize treatment for their citizens. If an Indian is treating, their radiation machine is different, their PET scan is cheaper, their wards, they are cheaper, the drugs they give to their citizens are cheaper. They don't give them cash, they just subsidize the drugs for them and make it very affordable. That's what they do. They don't give them cash. Because somebody that has cancer just needs to be treated. She or he may not need cash like that. So that's the beautiful thing they do for their patients. In fact, it got to a time because their beds, their wards were cheaper. I opted to be taking my treatment in their ward, and they are not.
Well, you're a non-Indian, but you've opted to be treated
because it's cheaper.
It was cheaper for you there.
Everything they did for their citizens different.
Yeah.
Very, very, very wonderful plan.
So why do you think there is a rising case of people dying of cancer in Nigeria? What could be the reasons?
Yes.
And how do you think women and men who have those challenges can get away from those reasons? I'm thinking of stigmatization and all those traditional beliefs.
Yes. People say, God forbid, it cannot be. People tied to religion. People tied to, they want to think that, I don't even know how to explain this, but what is most important is that when it is discovered that you have cancer, go for medical treatment. Don't go for supplements. Don't go for diets. Don't go for exercise or whatever people think.
What about going to churches for prayers?
Prayers is good. You go to prayer, you go to church to pray. If God uses the medicine to heal you, like me, I'm a believer. I believe in Jesus Christ. So God healed me through the medicine that I took. And that I'm alive today. It's God's hands on me. But when you say, oh, you go to church and say, it cannot happen to me, it must not be me, God forbid, you say it is demonic, you say it is this or that, those things do not glorify God, because God has given you wisdom and has also given the doctors wisdom. And if God does not go with you, you will not pull through. So in as much as we need God, we also need wisdom from God to do what we can do. What we cannot do, God does for us.
Wow. Thank you, madam, for coming to this program, because you see, we need to learn, we need to hear about this. There was sometime early this year, there was this World Cancer Day, and now we are on the World Women Week or month or something.